So Josh Hosang is wearing number 66. And I've been asked about this a few times, and I thought, well, it's not really video worthy, but maybe it is. Because, I'm looking now at numbers that get retired and jerseys that are being put up to rafters, and I'm seeing a lot of names that I wouldn't necessarily have picked to go up to the rafters and jerseys retired, but it's a strange thing. And I at first, when I started seeing these Ring of Honors going up around the NHL where certain players were being honored. All right, there. I'll turn the heaters off for this one. How's that sound? Now I'm cold. Anyways, it snowed last night, but it's one of those weird things. So, player X has a good career, retires, his number's retired. It feels like the bar to retire a number has dropped, and maybe these Ring of Honor things that I thought were kind of silly, maybe that's the best way to go. Um, I know that it's been weird watching Toronto this year setting the clock back. So it seems like, it's their 100th anniversary, and oh, Davy Keon doesn't hate the team anymore. So quick, let's just give thanks to all these former players. And I thought it was kind of silly, but I will say that not retiring a number makes sense unless it's a generational talent. Like, or it's an easy number. Like retired league wide is Gretzky's 99. Good, fine. Nobody wore it. Gretzky wore 99 because he wanted Gordie Howe's number 9 and couldn't have it. I don't remember the exact reasoning. He ended up with 99, or he wanted 99. I know it was, in homage to Gordie Howe's number 9, but that's the thing. So Gordie Howe plays in the league for 86 years. He lived to be 165 or whatever it was. And his number's not retired league wide. They didn't retire Bobby Orr's number 4 league wide. And he revolutionized the game and revolutionized the blue line. I'm not saying that Lemieux wasn't generational, because he was. I'm saying that we're not talking about a guy in Pittsburgh using the number. We're not talking about a guy who is claiming to be Mario Lemieux using the number. We're talking about Josh Hosang, who will never be confused with Mario Lemieux. And I think that's what makes him kind of an easier target. I think if this was Patrick Kane or Matt Duchene or some other player that just says one day, I'm going to wear 66. Sort of like Pavel Bure for a while there in Vancouver went from number 10 to number 96. Had nothing but bad luck and went back to 10 soon after. But, a guy who's established using that number, I think, would take a lot less guff. But it's a number. It doesn't matter. And the idea that, well, that's Mario's number. That guys have worn 66. They weren't Mario, but they've worn 66. I think Hosang becomes an easier target. I think, there have been a lot of things said about him having a poor attitude, of not coming to play every night, of not being in the best shape in training camp. Whatever is said about him, I think has made it easier to make him a target. But for Hosang to use 66, he has every right to use it. Lemieux never played for the Islanders. The league never came out and said, we're retiring the number league wide, like they did with Gretzky, which, in retrospect, looking at it now, almost 20 years later, it's silly. It's honestly kind of weird that let's say somebody comes into Vegas next year. I want to wear 99. You're not allowed. Why? Because the league retired it almost 20 years ago. It's silly. It's a strange thing to do to retire, and it's because it's 99. If Gretzky had worn number 8, it does not get retired league wide. If Gretzky wore number 11, number 10, number any of those low numbers, it does not get retired league wide. But because he had 99 and it was recognizable, it gets retired league wide. And it sets up this kind of crap. You don't hear, oh, there's this new rookie playing And he's wearing number 4. He plays for San Jose. What an asshole. He thinks he's Bobby Orr. Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure it's Brendan Dillon's number, but stick with me on this, all right? Just because a defenseman wears number 4, it doesn't mean he thinks he's Bobby Orr. When Ray Bourque wore number 7, he didn't think he was Phil Esposito. And then when they retired Esposito's number and he went to 77, it didn't mean that every other defenseman in the league couldn't be 77 because that's Bourque's number now. It's ridiculous. And Penguins fans don't need to worry. Ho-Sang's not going to make anybody forget Mario. He's not going to make anybody forget Jocelyn Lemieux, much less Mario Lemieux. Or Mario's older brother, Alain Lemieux. No, nobody remembers that Mario had an older brother that played in the NHL. Because he didn't stay in the NHL for very long. Because that's how family lines work. Gretzky's brothers didn't last very long either. So, I think it's much ado about nothing. But it's out there, and people have been talking about it since he came up. And I thought it'll only be a story for a day or two, but people are still talking about it. And I just think it's kind of ridiculous. I do. I think there's other things to worry about right now, if you're a hockey fan, than the fact that some rookie is wearing 66. And the fact that he's a rookie wearing 66 is something too. Like, there are plenty of players who've come into the NHL wearing some weird funky number as a rookie, and then their second year they're wearing 8, 10, 15. They're wearing a low number that second year in because the number that they wanted wasn't available when they came up. I remember Gino Ojic, who ended up, I'm pretty sure he was 29, was in Vancouver. I think he started out as 66. And I don't want to look it up because part of the reason this channel works is I don't look shit up. You guys do. And I like to remember this stuff off the top of my head. Now, I'm remembering Ojic had a high number, and I think he had 66. I think he did. And then it got changed to 29 later on. But I think when Ojic... Oh, jeez. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this while you guys are watching. There we go. Jersey number 66. Yeah, Gino Ojic did wear it. Yeah, I'm right. Milan Novi wore it as well. I'm pretty sure that was in Washington. Yannick Dupre wore it. Don't know what year that was. And TJ Brody wore it. Hey, you Flames fans. Dude, Brody wore 66. It's not a big deal. It's not. I mean, it became, and I'm glad I looked that up because now I can say with confidence that, yeah, it was kind of a laughing point with Ojic when he came up that he had 66. But it was a high number, and it happens. Now, I understand that people are upset because apparently Ho-Sang chose 66. Who gives a shit? If he chooses it or they give it to him, who cares? It's a number. And nobody cares what number you wear. Would Gretzky have been any less the player that he was if he wore 43 or 51? No. But again, if he'd worn number 8 or number 9, it does not get retired league-wide. Mario's number was not retired league-wide. And if anybody's upset about that, then write to Gary Bettman. But Penguins fans have no right to complain. No fans have any right to complain because the number was not retired league-wide. Because of that, you cannot make a claim. It's been retired in Pittsburgh, clearly, obviously, and even if it wasn't, no player in their right mind would wear number 66 wearing a Penguins jersey, just like no Penguin will ever wear 87 again. But 87's not going to be retired league-wide. 88 wasn't retired league-wide for Lindros. And I can tell you, 68 isn't going to be retired for Jagr. Let's take a look at 68. Mike Duco wore 68. Mike Hoffman wears 68. Melker Karlsson, 68. Ziggy Palffy had 68 on his jersey. Yannick Weber wore 68. Who do these guys think they are? Tyler Pitlick had 68. See, we can play this game where I can just look at Jagr and go, oh, look at all these guys who wore Jagr's number after he'd been in the NHL. It's a number. Anyways, let me know in the comments below why I'm wrong. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. and thank you very much for watching. I will talk to you all again very soon.